Hey friends, welcome back to Sarah's Vegan Kitchen. I hope you're doing really well. First off, I want to apologize in advance if over the course of this video you hear my neighbor's dogs barking incessantly outside. They've been doing it for the past 30 minutes, and that's why I'm using this microphone. It should isolate my voice pretty well, but you may just hear some faint, distant yapping noises, and for that I apologize. Also apologize for the sound of my voice. I'm just getting over a cold. I had a cough for about a week, and I'm very scratchy, and I'm just finally starting to feel like my normal self again. And if any of you are also getting over a little cold or a little bug this winter, I hope that you feel better soon. It's just that time of year, which leads me into the topic of this video, what I eat in a day when I'm sick. There's 2 soup recipes in this video because I have pretty much only wanted to eat soup every day for the past week. Because what's better when you're feeling under the weather and your throat hurts than warm, salty liquid with tons of vegetables and potatoes floating in it. Am I right? Before we get started, this video is sponsored by Audible. They're one of my favorite brands to work with because I'm an audiobook fiend. They have an unmatched selection of audiobooks, all different genres. They have news and comedy shows as well. So there's something for everyone. And the app makes it super easy to listen to on the go. I'm most commonly listening to an audiobook at the gym or anytime I'm driving anywhere. I pretty much always update on my Instagram stories too when I start a new audiobook. But this week I started one by Cal Newport. I believe he's a theoretical computer scientist, which doesn't sound like the typical author whose work I'd be attracted to, but I came across an interview with him. It was fascinating to me, so I bought 2 of his books, actually. I bought one called So Good They Can't Ignore You. It's about kind of how this idea of just follow your passion is a bit of an oversimplification, how there's a lot more factors involved in finding work that is meaningful and fulfilling. I also bought one of his books called Deep Work, which is about the importance of doing really deep, focused work for long periods of time and how that is so difficult to achieve now because we're very used to having our attention fragmented by, our phones, social media, checking email all the time, and, by platforms like Slack, which a lot of employers use now. So those are 2 audiobooks that I'm very excited about. If you guys are interested in trying out Audible, I will have a link in the description box below, or you can just go to www.audible.com/Sarah's Vegan Kitchen or text Sarah's Vegan Kitchen to 500 and you'll get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95. That includes 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals each month, which is over half off the regular price, I believe. So with that, let's get into this What I Eat in a Day video. I'm going to do another little commentary. I never really think to buy citrus fruit, but these mandarins were on sale, 10 pounds for $5 at Sprouts. So I stocked up, and I've just been starting every single morning by having 3 to 5 of them. And then anytime I want a snack throughout the day, I'll have a couple of them. They're just really good. Nice little sweet snack. Also made a cup of decaf coffee, and I just got this frothing pitcher from Amazon. I'll link it down below. It works really well, especially if you use oat milk. So I have some low fat Oatly that I put in with my decaf coffee and made a little frothy beverage. And after a little while, I toasted a slice of Dave's Killer bread and I spread it with some peanut butter. Nice little carby, healthy fat snack before I go to the gym. If I'm feeling really sick, obviously I won't go to the gym. I'll just take a rest day. But I just had I was a little sniffly. I didn't feel sick or nauseous or anything. So I did go and I just kept it really nice and light. I didn't work up a sweat or anything, but it was nice to have a little bit of movement. I believe I did just shoulders. And after the gym, Eric and I made a big tofu scramble as our proper breakfast. I usually use extra firm tofu, but I actually had only a block of the super firm, high protein, vacuum packed tofu, which is a lot firmer and much drier. So I don't know, it wasn't my favorite, but I wanted to use it up. So I crumbled that into a pan with some red peppers that I had been sauteing. Eric seasoned it with some salt and pepper and garlic powder, onion powder, some black salt, and then some nutritional yeast, usual tofu scramble seasonings. I also added in some chopped green onions, and then we had some benevolent bacon. I had actually bought that to crumble on top of a soup I had made earlier the week, but I'd forgotten to, so we added it to our scramble. Then for lunch, I had some leftover soup that I had made the previous day. I had intended for this to be kind of like a broccoli cheddar soup. I feel like I keep seeing people make that online. I believe that's a Panera recipe, and I've never had it before, but the concept sounded solid. And I wanted to make a healthier version of that. Obviously, I try not to eat a bunch of crap when I'm feeling sick because I want to fuel my body and get lots of nutrition in there. So I wanted to make a healthy, like lighter version. So I chopped up a ton of veggies. I had celery, onion, some garlic. I had some red pepper as well. I always have tons of like red peppers in my fridge, always forgetting to use it up. Some carrots, and then I cubed up some potatoes, and then I had lots of broccoli, and I cut that into little florets. I sauteed all those veggies. I used my big Dutch oven. That's my favorite thing to use for big batches of soup. And I never just make enough soup for one night. I have to make enough for like 3-4 days because I love soup. I think I gave the onions and the celery and carrots a head start. Then after that, I added in my peppers and my potatoes and my broccoli. And then I covered that with water. And then I used some of the Better Than Bouillon no chicken broth. That's one of my favorites to use. Super savory. So I let that simmer for like 25 to 30 minutes, which I think is a little longer than necessary, but I got like wrapped up in work and I came back and it was ready. The potatoes were nice and tender. So at this point I wanted to thicken it so it was a little chowdery, you know? To thicken it, I whisked a couple tablespoons of sweet rice flour into a cup of, I believe I used unsweetened plain cashew milk. Whisk that together so there are no lumps of flour, and then I pour it in and make sure it's well combined with the rest of the broth, and then I bring it back up to a very gentle boil and it thickens really nicely. So that's, the sweet rice flour is a good substitute for like a thickener if you want it to be gluten-free. Then once it had thickened, I also took out a couple of cups into my blender and pureed it, and then I added it back in so it was even more creamy and kind of chowdery. So on the original night that we made it, we topped it with some cheddar shreds, which were on sale. So I stocked up at Sprouts the other day. I feel like I buy like tons of vegan cheese when it goes on sale because it can be expensive, you know, so I stock up. I had a little sourdough loaf that we toasted and dipped. And then on the actual day that this What I Eat in a Day video was for, I had leftover soup, which I had with a little bit more bread. And then I made a side salad, which is just green leaf lettuce. And I bought this rosemary balsamic dressing, again from Sprouts, because it's pretty much the only place I shop these days. I've been meaning to make it back down to the Trader Joe's in Boulder because I love Trader Joe's and it used to be a staple, and now I live too far to go. I also topped it with some hemp seeds because I put those on pretty much all my salads because I think they are delicious and high in protein. For dinner, I decided to make more soup. I had been talking with a friend about the Zuppa Toscana from Olive Garden, which, fun fact, I think I've gone to Olive Garden only once in my life. My dad worked in the restaurant business, and for some reason he was like vehemently against a majority of chain restaurants like Olive Garden, Red Robin, Red Lobster, TGI Fridays. So like we never went to those places growing up. So I've never actually had this Zuppa Toscana that everyone raves about, but she told me about it and it sounded really good. And there are lots of different copycat, like Olive Garden copycat recipes online. And it's very easy to veganize because we have Beyond Sausage. Thank God for Beyond Sausage. I bought a package of the hot Italian one. So I prepped a bunch of veggies for this as well. I washed a whole head of kale and I pulled out the stalks, which are really like fibrous and chewy, discarded those, and I chopped it up. Also chopped up an onion and lots of garlic. I think I used close to an entire head of garlic. And again, I had a red pepper to use up, so I diced that up as well, even though I don't think it's in the original recipe. I used 3 Beyond sausages. Now that I think back on it, I probably could have used the entire package because sausage is delicious. So I start by browning that up, crumbling it as much as possible. And then I added in my onion and my garlic and sauteed that until it was tender. And then my peppers, and then I added the rest of the vegetables, and then I covered it with some broth, and I used this time some faux beef vegan bouillon cubes instead of the chicken. Same exact steps as the previous soup. You bring it up to a boil, reduce the heat, let it simmer until the potatoes are tender. Then I added the same kind of thickening agent because the original recipe calls for heavy cream, I believe. And again, I was trying to, not that Beyond Sausage is particularly healthy, but I was trying to keep this soup on the healthier side. I didn't want like a gut bomb. I was sick. I didn't want to feel sicker. So once the soup had been thickened, it was ready to serve, and it was so delicious. I can't believe I've never had something like this before. It's definitely going into the rotation. It's really good. I'll have the recipe down below. When I'm sick, I try to stay really hydrated, drink lots of water, lots of tea. I'm actually drinking some throat coat tea right now. This stuff's the best. That's everything that I ate today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you make either of these soup recipes or if you have any other soup recipe ideas that I need to try out, because like I said, I'm in a soup mode and I just need new ideas. So I would appreciate those. Hope that you have an amazing day, and I will see you soon. Bye.